Because when we start talking about leadership, and if you think about the wide variety of leaders that we just mentioned in this room, right? All the way from civil rights to business to mamas and grandmamas and Martin Luther King, people in the Bible, all these core people, there were certain characteristics about them that allowed them to be remembered as great leaders. So as we dive into this, I want your minds to keep working and keep thinking about those people who you identified. And you think about your list, because the reason I want you to think about that is because it's not what we're doing here today, but it's 30 years from now when the next generations of impact is having their training session. And they say, well, who are some of the great leaders? Maybe some of your names can be mentioned in that room. And that's what we're trying to establish that today, to where a leader doesn't lead necessarily for that day, he leads for the future. Martin Luther King and the people that you named, those mamas and grandmamas and all those people, they didn't know that their name would be written in history while they were doing what they were doing. So we can't serve in that state of mind. We got to serve that somebody's going to remember me down the road. Empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. Completely coming out of yourself. My most recent example of that was Beaumont. We went down to Beaumont with about 5 or 6 people from here, and we had to get volunteers there. We went to a place where the volunteers were the people who were the people that we were going to help. We went to a place where the volunteers were the same people that we went to go help. We went to a place where the volunteers, the people who were carrying the water, serving the food with smiles on their faces, were the same people with nothing, no house, no water, no clothes, but they had a heart to serve. If you can get specific quickly, because sometimes we say we want this, but we got to get it to here. And once we get it, and like she said, no, we saw the need for this thing. And once we focused on that thing, everything else kind of flowed a little quicker. So sometimes it may take us a long time to get there because we're out here. So we may have to bring our ministry in a little bit and say, hold on. I know we say we want to do this. I know we say we want to do that, but let's do this. Let's look at this one thing. And you may say, well, how do we get to that one thing? You weigh the impact. Like she said, we saw the need. For your list of items, what's the need? Like, is this a kind of have or is this a must have? When we sing that attainable peace, don't set a goal that a person can't get to. Don't set a goal. And also, I'm not saying to set simple goals, like something that's super, super easy. You want the challenge so you can have the gratification of accomplishing it, but you don't want the challenge to be so great that you can't accomplish it. Right. So think about that in the time frame. You want to push, as a leader, you want to push your ministry. You want to push them to that next level. If they say, okay, we want to get at least 3 new people to join our ministry this year. As that leader, you may say, let's go for 4. And let's try to get 1 each quarter. Like you've changed the goal just from 3 to 4, but you've made it attainable by saying, let's just get 1 each quarter. So does that make sense? Raindrop. So there's a conversation in the clouds between 2 raindrops. One raindrop looks at the other raindrop and said, when it's time for us to fall, where do you want to land? Raindrop said, I want to land on a mountain. The other one said, well, I want to land on a rose petal. It came time for the raindrops to fall. The clouds began to cloud up. Then the rain began to fall. That one raindrop did land on the mountaintop, but the other raindrop missed the rose petal and he found himself in the gutter. When that raindrop got into the gutter, he encountered grit and grime. Grit and grime looked at that raindrop and said, you're in the gutter now. So you have to decide. Either you're going to be grit or you're going to be grime. Raindrop said, but I'm a raindrop. He said, no, we understand what you are, but we're trying to tell you where you are now. So because you're in the gutter, you either got to be grit or you got to be grime. The raindrop said, there's something that you don't know about me. Right now, the clouds are formed and the rain is falling. But soon, the clouds are going to roll away. and the sun is going to come back out. And I'm going to go through a process called evaporation, where I go back to my starting point and have another opportunity to hit my rose petal. The moral of the story is, it's not necessarily where you are, it's who you are. And you knowing who you are will dictate where you are. Amen. Thank you.